After 7 o'clock in the morning, the media will definitely report this matter. At that time, it will definitely spread throughout Japan. If within 24 hours, he can't save people, this news will surely spread all over the world. At that time, this will not only be the scandal of the TMPD, but also the scandal of entire Japan. If the law and order in Japan are so bad, the murderer is so cruel, and so tough, who will dare to come to Tokyo in the future? It is not only the rich and entrepreneurs who dare not come, but the politicians of various countries will be afraid to come. But Tokyo is the capital of Japan. If this scandal spreads all over the world, it will surely plunge the entire Japan into a diplomatic dilemma. So he immediately asked his subordinates, "Are there any detailed autopsy results?" The chief forensic doctor in charge of the autopsy immediately rushed to report to the TMPD commissioner and Zin. After our autopsy, it was found that more than a dozen sus entourages who died of poisoning, without exception, were all sarin poisoning, and it is discovered that they all died of liquid sarin poisoning. Zin frowned. Liquid sarin gas? What do you mean? The forensic doctor hurriedly explained. Sarin gas is a colorless oily liquid at room temperature, much like glycerin. When used in war, it is exploded to form a large area of aerosol. Whether it is breathing or skin contact, it will cause poisoning. But the murderer this time must not want to make a big explosion, so he used a carrier similar to a syringe needle to inject about 30 milligrams of liquid sarin gas, and projected it on the victim at a certain distance to make the victim suffer. People died of poison. The chief of the TMPD hurriedly asked, "That is to say, that ninja dart really has not been actually used?" "Correct." The chief of the Metropolitan Police could not help asking Zin, "Mr. Su, you said that the person behind this incident is the enemy of the Su family?" Zin said with a green face, "I don't care whose enemy I am. I only know that my son and daughter are kidnapped in Tokyo. You must get them back to me unscathed." The chief of the TMPD was extremely helpless, and hurriedly arranged, first, continue to enhance the search, and do not let go of any suspicious locations, vehicles, and people. Second, release both Takehiko and Takahashi, and then closely monitor them. What they do, see if you can find any clues. Maki Takahashi in the interrogation room, when he heard that they let him go home, hurriedly asked, "It's not very peaceful these days, can you let me stay in the TMPD?" The police officer handling the case said angrily, "You use the TMPD as a hotel? Get out quickly, otherwise will be hard." Takahashi was really helpless, so he returned home from the TMPD under the escort of a few bodyguards. Along the way, Maki Takahashi has been worried. He was afraid that someone would harm him, and Tenglin and the three of them were not around yet. If something happened, he was afraid that he would not even have the ability to resist. So, he immediately called Tenglin. However, no one answered a few calls he made, which made him even more nervous. What the hell is going on? After a few hours, it's time to go back to Tokyo from Osaka? Why can't I get through the phone? Thinking of this, he couldn't help getting irritated, and made several more calls to Tenglin's two junior brothers, but none of them could get through. At this time, he was already faintly aware of something bad in his heart. Could it be that Tenglin and the three of them, like their fourth junior brother, are all killed by those mysterious ninjas? At this moment, the housekeeper called, and as soon as he came up he said hurriedly, "President, there was a mysterious person just now. He said he sent you a great gift." Takahashi asked in horror, "Great gift? What kind of gift? A truck? What the hell is going on?" The butler hurriedly said, "The other party drove the truck to the door of the villa, saying that it is a gift for you in the car. What about others?" "I heard it through the intercom on the doorbell at the door. When I came out, the people had disappeared, but the car is still." Takahashi shivered when he heard this. Who would use a truck to give gifts? Leave the truck at your door? Moreover, it is still in such a sensitive time period. Thinking of this, he asked nervously, "Have you opened it to see what's inside?" The butler said, "No, I want to wait until you come back before opening it." Takahashi blurted out, "Call the police." "Call the police? Maybe there is a bomb in the car." The housekeeper hurriedly said, My lord, we have done explosives and toxic substances tests and no abnormalities have been found. Nothing abnormal? Maki Takahashi breathed a sigh of relief when he heard this. Under normal circumstances, if you want to use something to harm people, it is nothing more than bombs and poisons. Since there is nothing abnormal after detection, there should be no problem. The equipment used at home to detect explosives and toxic substances are the same as that used by the airport and customs. The accuracy rate is extremely high. If there are such substances, it is absolutely impossible to hide them. Thinking of this, he said, I will be back in a few minutes. Wait for me. After hanging up the phone, Takahashi couldn't help rubbing his temples, and his whole body was a bit exhausted. From yesterday to today, Tokyo has been so chaotic that he is already a little nervous. 10 minutes later, Maki Takahashi returned to his villa. The biggest difference between Japan and China is that many houses are not built by developers, but are built by homeowners. This is very similar to China a few decades ago. Whether rich or poor, they buy land and build their own houses. Therefore, in Japan, there are very few concepts of community and apartment. The mansion of Maki Takahashi, not far from the Japanese Imperial Palace, has an excellent location and a huge area. When he came to the door of his house, he saw a frozen truck parked on the side of the road. The butler ran over to open the door for him at this time, and said respectfully, Mr. President, this is the car. The door is locked and the engine is not turned off. The freezer at the back is still cooling.